Hey there, folks. Tonight we're diving into the world of trucking, and it's wilder than you might think. Now, we all know those big rigs are essential. They haul everything from groceries to gadgets. But what you might not know is how much power the big trucking companies have in Washington. See, these companies spend millions on lobbying, trying to influence laws and regulations in their favor. And guess what? It works. They've got teams of lawyers and experts whispering in politicians' ears, pushing for rules that benefit them, even if it hurts smaller trucking companies. It's like a heavyweight boxer bribing the referee to look the other way when they throw a low blow. Not exactly a fair fight, is it? And we're talking about laws about everything from how long drivers can stay on the road to how much weight trucks can carry. So buckle up, because we're about to expose how big trucking companies use their deep pockets to rig the system. And trust us, it's a bumpy ride. Okay, let's talk dirty tactics. One way big trucking companies maintain their grip on the industry is through something called regulatory capture. Sounds boring, right? But stay with me. Basically, it's like when the fox is put in charge of the hen house. They use their influence to get people who used to work for them or who are sympathetic to their cause into positions of power within regulatory agencies. These agencies are supposed to keep the industry in check. But when they're staffed with industry insiders, well, you can guess what happens. Another tactic: flooding the market. Big companies can afford to operate at a loss for a while, driving down prices and forcing smaller competitors out of business. It's like a game of chicken, but with 18 wheels and a whole lot of cargo. And let's not forget about the good old-fashioned campaign contributions. These companies donate huge sums of money to politicians who support their agenda. It's not exactly bribery, but it's about as close as you can get without needing a good lawyer on retainer. Now, for some real-world examples of this highway robbery in action. Remember the electronic logging device, ELD mandate? Back in 2017, the government made it mandatory for truck drivers to use ELDs to track their hours of service. On the surface, this sounded like a good idea, right? Preventing fatigued driving and making the roads safer. But here's the thing. Big trucking companies were already using ELDs, while smaller companies relied on paper logs, which gave them a bit more flexibility. The mandate put a financial strain on smaller operators, forcing some out of business, while the big guys just kept on trucking. Then there's the issue of truck size and weight limits. Big trucking companies have been lobbying for years to increase these limits, claiming it will make the industry more efficient. But safety groups argue that bigger trucks mean more dangerous roads. Guess who usually gets their way? Hint: it's not the folks concerned about your safety. So, what does all this mean for the little guys, the independent truckers and small trucking companies? Well, it's tough out there. They're facing unfair competition from these behemoths who seem to have the government in their back pocket. Imagine trying to compete with a company that can dictate the rules of the game. It's like trying to race a Lamborghini in your grandpa's pickup truck. Sure, you might be able to get from point A to point B, but you're not going to win any races. Many small trucking companies are struggling to stay afloat, let alone thrive. They're facing higher operating costs, increased regulations, and a shrinking slice of the pie. It's enough to make you want to trade in your keys for a desk job.